Yesterday I did the introduction to the review of the workbook, and also the first review section. Today we're going to do lesson 52, which is the next review section in the workbook. I want to just read a little bit from the introduction once again, just as a review of the introduction, because I think this is a very important point. I'm dripping right now because it was raining outside, but anyway. It will be necessary that you learn to require no special settings in which to apply what you have learned. You will need your learning most in situations that appear to be upsetting rather than in those that already seem to be calm and quiet. The purpose of your learning is to enable you to bring the quiet with you and to heal distress and turmoil. This is not done by avoiding them and seeking a haven of isolation for yourself. So it's a very important point, which is it's easy to be spiritual on a mountaintop or in a cave or in the quiet of your room. It's much harder to be spiritual when the rubber hits the road and the shit hits the fan and you're in a real life situation that requires you to be the calm eye of the storm versus getting caught up in the hurricane of life. And that's where we're going with these lessons. These lessons are really just like baby steps. They're the training wheels. A lot of people, I think, tend to think that once they've done the workbook lessons for a year, then they're basically done with the course. But no, that's really just the beginning. So keep that in mind. Anyway, lesson 52. Today's review covers these ideas. Number 1, remember each review section has 5 of the lessons that came previously. This is now lesson 6 through 10. The first one is, I am upset because I see what is not there. And then the commentary is, reality is never frightening. It is impossible that it could upset me. Reality brings only perfect peace. When I am upset, it is always because I have replaced reality with illusions I made up. The illusions are upsetting because I have given them reality and thus regard reality as an illusion. Nothing in God's creation is affected in any way by this confusion of mine. I am always upset by nothing. So, in other words, we project out onto reality whatever is going on within ourselves. And it's generally, remember, the ego projects. So we project the confusion and the illusion and the delusion in our own minds out there, and that's what we see. And don't mind my dripping, but anyway, that's what we see. But that really is just made up thoughts, imaginary thoughts. They have no reality. And that's why, we're upset. When we get upset, we're upset about nothing. We're upset about things that we projected outside of ourselves and then we made them real, but they are not real. So I am upset because I see what is not there. And this is just another way of saying as well that there really is never a reason to be upset. If we are getting upset, we have to acknowledge that we're upset, of course. We don't want to deny that we're upset, but we also don't want to give reality to our upsetness, and we don't want to try to justify our upsetness. Remember that line, famous line in the Course, which everyone hates, anger is never justified. Forgiveness is always justified, and anger is never justified. 2, I see only the past. In the commentary, as I look about, I condemn the world I look upon. I call this seeing. I hold the past against everyone and everything, making them my enemies. When I have forgiven myself and remembered who I am, I will bless everyone and everything I see. There will be no past and therefore no enemies. And I will look with love on all that I failed to see before. So, just this goes along with the first one, which, I see only the past. So what I project out there is I project past, not only my own history, my own past, what I've seen in the past, but I see the other person or the other situation or the other thing in terms of the past, and I don't see it as it is right now. If I saw it as it is right now, I would see only perfection. But because I see in terms of the past, I condemn, I judge, and I very seldomly forgive. And all it takes is to remember to forgive yourself, right? That I am perfect, and I am always perfect, and when I forget that, I get into the judgment, and I get into feeling bad. And it's as simple as that. It's not easy, but it's very simple. So when I remember who I am, I just bless everything. I don't have any enemies. There's no past. There's nothing to get upset about. Number 3, my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. Here comes trouble.
You always have to.
Hey, bud, let me finish this video, okay, bud?
You always have to do it here, not anywhere else.
Yep, this is my place to do it, bud. You can have those pictures. You want those?
No.
Okay.
They go on the wall because they're sticky.
I'm on a roll here, buddy. Let me just finish this. I'm on a roll.
There's something here to left.
Oh man. All right, I'm just gonna keep going with this video, bud. All right.
Okay.
All right, bud. Take that, and I'll see you very soon.
I just need one.
Okay. Thanks, bud. All right, here we go. Number 3, my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. Commentary, I see only my own thoughts, and my mind is preoccupied with the past. What then can I see as it is? Let me remember that I look on the past to prevent the present from dawning on my mind. Let me understand that I am trying to use time against God. Let me learn to give the past away, realizing that in so doing, I am giving up nothing. So my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. Remember that great saying, the past is history, the future is a mystery, and the present is the greatest gift. That's why it's called the present. and everything is bringing us to the present moment, right? Forgetting about the past, forgetting about the future, and just being present. The greatest gift you can give yourself and give anyone. Because in the present, everything is perfect. Everything is as it should be, or as it truly is. And there's a purpose that the ego uses. It uses time for its own purpose, and time for the ego is used to prevent us from being in the present. Because if we live in the present, we don't need the ego. The ego is no more, right? The ego is undone. But as long as we are living in the past or in the future, in any regard, we are following the ego. And we are buying into the ego thought system. And we're preventing the sun of divine love from dawning upon us. In a way, we're pushing God out of the picture. Once again, it's basically the story of our life. The story of the ego is pushing God out of the picture, and establishing the ego as God. Number 4, I see nothing as it is now. I see nothing as it is now. If I see nothing as it is now, it can truly be said that I see nothing. I can see only what is now. The choice is not whether to see the past or the present. The choice is merely whether to see or not. What I have chosen to see has cost me vision. Now I would choose again that I may see. Now this goes even deeper. This gets to the uncompromising nature of A Course in Miracles, which is it's all or nothing. It's an all or nothing thing here. Sometimes we hear that all or nothing is not good, But what Jesus is saying is that you either accept this completely, or you don't accept it at all, right? You either are living in the now, or you are living nowhere. You're nowhere, and you're thinking nothing. It's a pretty radical idea, actually. The choice is not whether to see the past or the present. The choice is merely whether to see or not, right? So you're not even seeing if you are not in the eternal now. And this is where this goes deeper even than what we think, because I think what Jesus is really getting at is, as long as we think we're here, as long as we think we're in a world of duality, we're not really seeing. When we were in the oneness, when we were in the realm of knowledge, which would be beyond the body, beyond the world, then we are seeing, right? So let's not fool ourselves either that we're seeing truly in this world. No, we are seeing more and more. Our perception is becoming more and more aligned with truth, but that doesn't mean that we are knowers of truth. It means that we're getting closer, we're getting warmer, right? But it doesn't mean that we're all the way there yet. But we may have moments, which Jesus calls the holy instant, where we transcend and we experience our true reality. But then we come back into our body once again. We come back to the world, and those experiences definitely inform our earthly experience. But it's like we're either there or we're not, right? There's no in between. Paragraph 5. Number 5. My thoughts do not mean anything. My thoughts do not mean anything. I have no private thoughts, yet it is only private thoughts of which I am aware. What can these thoughts mean? They do not exist, and so they mean nothing. Yet my mind is part of creation and part of its creator. Would I not rather join the thinking of the universe than to obscure all that is really mine with my pitiful and meaningless, quote, private, unquote, thoughts? This whole idea of private thoughts is a very interesting one. My private thoughts, in other words, it's saying my private thoughts do not mean anything. So what are private thoughts? Everything that we're thinking is a private thought. Everything that we think we're thinking. All our thoughts are meaningless. Now, that does not mean that we cannot align our perception more and more with truth. In that regard, our thoughts will be reflecting truth, but our thoughts are still part of the dream, as our being here is part of the dream, right? We ourselves are an illusion, right? This whole ego personality that we call myself is an illusion. It's not ultimately real. So all of our thoughts are private thoughts, and all of our thoughts are meaningless. Ultimately, they're all illusory. But again, all is not lost because we can align our thoughts more and more with truth, with right perception, or in other words, with Jesus and the Holy Spirit's vision, which is this higher vision, which can rise above, Jesus calls it being above the battleground, right? Where you can rise above and you can see from a higher perspective. But ultimately, we're going to go beyond all thoughts, all words, all concepts, right? Jesus does not say that here, but and the other thing about private thoughts we can say is that any thought that is self-centered, in the sense like, oh, my poor me, my suffering, my sad life, my, when you start thinking that way, that why me, right? Sometimes we say that good things happen and we say, wow, what did I do to deserve this? And then bad things happen, we say, what did I do to deserve this? But it all comes to the same thing, which is an undue focus on yourself, and not realizing that we're all in the same boat here, right? Everyone is going through the same thing. It just looks different, right, on the surface. Everyone seems to have a different story, but when you boil it all down, it comes to the same thing, and we're all dealing with the same thing. We all have the same ego mind, and we all have the same right mind, which would be the what the Course calls the Holy Spirit, and we can choose between the two. And everyone is choosing between the two. Sometimes it's not conscious choosing, but the Course is giving us the ability now to make more conscious decisions, conscious choices. So anyway, this is lesson 52. We're getting into, we're in the review now. After 52 comes 53, so we're going to be doing that tomorrow. And thank you so much for listening. I'm going to do a little video right now on something from the Misquoting Jesus podcast with Dr. Bart Ehrman, which was fascinating to me, and it's very, very relevant to A Course in Miracles. So if you want to stay tuned for that should be an interesting little spiel that I'm going to give in a second here. Thank you.